This is a special report from About Space Today.
Legendary journalist George Knapp has released a trove of documents smuggled out of Russia 30 years ago on their UFO files. Welcome to Special Report. I'm David Denault. George Knapp is an American journalist, news anchor, and talk radio host. Much of his work has focused on UFOs. The documents detailed Soviet investigations into thousands of reports of extraterrestrial craft and encounters with aliens.
Back in the early 90s, I got into Russia, met with a number of their defense officials, Ministry of Defense and others, who confirmed for me that Russia had been doing the same thing that the United States had been doing, that is, secretly studying UFOs while publicly saying something completely different. The documents and interviews that I obtained and have now shared with this task force show that the USSR launched what is almost certainly the largest UFO UAP investigation in the world. The first phase of that was an order was sent out to the entire USSR military empire that every unit, you see anything strange in the sky, a craft, an orb, something unusual, you had to gather all the evidence, collect testimony from the witnesses, look for physical evidence, and all of that information went into one program at the Ministry of Defense. Thousands and thousands of these reports came in. A lot of them were first routed to the KGB, but then back to another program that came after this collection effort called Thread 3. And Thread 3 was an analysis program. We have provided to the committee the documents of what they were trying to do, and essentially they were trying to build their own UFOs. They were using the information from their observations and studies to try to figure out that technology. The guy who was in charge of that program, Colonel Boris Sokolov, told me that their goal was to basically develop technology that would be superior to anything we had, based on what they learned from UFOs.
It was in September 2025 George Knapp appeared before Congress to share what he had learned. Congressman Tim Burchett of Tennessee asked, how did he get these documents?
How did you manage to obtain the classified Russian UAP documents, and how did you get them back in the United States?
Well, I met this Russian physicist who was in the United States.
And I want to clarify that. I can't even take a thing of honey home on my airplane when I fly back to Tennessee. So
I did something pretty dumb.
And I'm bitter about it, but go ahead.
I did something kind of dumb. I met with these officials who, during that time period, glasnost, perestroika, the Russians were trying to open up to the world, and I saw it as a window of opportunity, and it was. And we were able to talk these folks into providing us information that otherwise we would never have seen. Some of that was classified. I found out that they only stamped the top pages of these documents that were classified, so I just removed them. I removed those pages, and I carried them out. And if they'd caught me, I'd be in a gulag still.
Yeah. We'd be saying, what happened to George Knapp? Oh, yeah.
Here is one of his chilling reports on UFOs taking control of a missile site.
The document we're making public, it's a Russian version, and the translation is about a bone-chilling incident in 1982 at a Russian ICBM base that's in what is now Ukraine. UFOs appeared above this base, over and around them for a couple of hours, making these incredible displays. And then suddenly, at the launch control system for the missiles, the codes that it lit up without anybody pressing a button. Someone entered the correct codes for launch, and the Russian missiles were enabled. Now, it'd take 25 minutes for one of them to get to New York City and obliterate it, and they couldn't stop it. The UFOs go poof, they're gone. The launch control system goes back to normal, and World War III was averted. Colonel Sokolov told me he sent a team of experts. They went to that base. They took apart the launch control system, couldn't find anything wrong, don't know how it was done, but in his opinion, it was the UFOs that did it, and they were trying to send some kind of message, whatever that message is. Look, the same thing has happened in the U.S. Multiple U.S. missile bases have been overflown by UFOs, and our nuclear missiles were disabled, were taken offline by whatever these things were. It's scary, and it's serious, and it really did happen.
Knapp says he is releasing all of the information to the general public since Congress has hesitated to open their files.
March 1991, radar at the Leningrad airport detects first one, then two, then three unidentified objects hovering over a nuclear plant. From a dead stop, the UFO zipped away at 2,000 miles per hour.
Today, average Russians are free to discuss UFOs, but it wasn't always so. Through the 50s and 60s, the Kremlin declared UFOs a capitalist creation, thus a non-topic. But behind the scenes, Stalin and other leaders authorized secret UFO studies.
Идентификацией занимался.
Retired Colonel Boris Sokolov commanded such a study for 10 years. The entire Russian military took part. Thousands of reports were generated, but were kept secret until 1993, when Sokolov first spoke to us. The study included 40 incidents of Russian warplanes encountering UFOs. One MiG had its wing damaged in a collision with a UFO. This former pilot says a UFO disabled his plane with a beam of light. General Igor Maltsev, for 7 years commander of the entire Soviet air defense system, recalls a UFO flap over Moscow in 1990, hundreds of visual and radar observations by military personnel. Maltsev confirms his standing order was, "Don't fire on the UFOs," but he declines to say much else. His boss, the former deputy defense minister, declined to speak altogether under orders. And even Sokolov is now reluctant to talk, in part because he was attacked in communist newspapers following our 1993 interview.
Putin's Russia is still a very scary place. And what's being made public is truly amazing. Thousands of pages never before seen by the public. Now, what about the U.S., our UFO or UAP files? I think we, the people, can handle the truth. And just as we were about to close out our program, one of our producers found this audio clip.
A new documentary filmmaker claims the Vatican is quietly preparing for possible first contact with aliens in 2026. Mark Christopher Lee, given rare access to the Vatican's secret archives, is investigating historical reports of mysterious phenomena. He suggests the Catholic Church is considering the spiritual implications of meeting intelligent life beyond Earth. Lee's upcoming film, God vs. Aliens, explores links between UFO encounters and faith. Vatican stargazers had long stated that extraterrestrials wouldn't contradict religious beliefs. The new Pope's astronomer even says he'd baptize an alien, calling all life children of God.
We'll see all of our reports on our Facebook page, aboutspace.today. And if you like our reports, click like, follow, and subscribe. And to all our listeners around the globe and here in the U.S., thanks for taking time from your home or from where you work to listen today. I'm David Denault.
This has been a special report from About Space Today.